Good day, my people. I hope you are well wherever you are. Today, I have very interesting news, and you know who our favorite is, Mkhwanazi. We're going to be talking a bit about him today based on a few things that have happened just recently.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to bring you yet another video. If you're new here, make sure to click out the playlist on Allegedly. I've covered a range of topics from true crime to politics, current affairs, spirituality, and entertainment. And there's much more to come. But before we get into today's discussion, I want to share a few disclaimers. Firstly, all the information I'll be sharing today comes from credible sources such as the media outlets or directly from the individuals involved. I want to assure you that I won't be making any facts. Everything discussed here has been previously reported or disclosed by the parties themselves. Additionally, I'll be providing updates on any ongoing court proceedings related to the cases that may need such an update. And finally, it's important to note that the information discussed in this video remains allegations until proven otherwise in the court of law. With that said, let's not delay any further and dive straight into today's topic.
Good day, my people. I hope you are well wherever you are. Today, I have very interesting news, and you know who our favorite is, Mkhwanazi. We're going to be talking a bit about him today based on a few things that have happened just recently. He is not necessarily much in the spotlight, he is probably focusing on his job, which is what he should do, but we like him, so every time anything happens or a story comes out that includes his name, we are attracted to it, and therefore we talk about it. I don't know about you, but for me, the man is doing the job, man, and he's one person who I think is going to be able to make a difference, in a very huge scale in our country, particularly when it comes to corruption and many other things that he is currently fighting as a police commissioner. South Africa, my people, is facing a crime crisis, and we all know about that. And unfortunately, KwaZulu-Natal alone has apparently recorded more than 4,200 murders in just 9 months. Did you get that? 4,200 murders in just 9 months. That's a whole lot. That is a lot of people dying every single day, passing on, going back to meet with their creator. And that's not necessarily a very good thing, according to me, because if you break down the number of 4,200 murders, those murders are people. These people are from homes. These people may be providers, they may be the perpetrators, they may have nothing to do with it, they may be young children, they may be caught in crossfire, but the fact of the matter is they are people, and someone some way appreciates them and loves them. So that on its own is a blow. But this week, apparently, a controversial statement is something that shook the country. Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi says, according to him, he feels absent fathers are actually to blame when it comes to much of the violence that is tearing communities apart. And I just had to ponder and think to myself, is he right? Could it be true? Or is this shifting attention away from the biggest systemic problems? And to be entirely honest with you, we've been talking about absent fathers and how people need fathers to be absent, but it does not necessarily mean people don't make decisions on the kind of people they want to be. However, imagine if an entire community is fatherless, 90% of the fathers there are not there. There's no backbone, kind of. There is no way certain people are going to be able to understand the role of a man or a father in an area and the authority that it comes with it, and therefore anything goes in such a situation. And I think I may potentially agree with him in this regard. So he was speaking at a provincial stakeholders engagement session, and Mkhwanazi honestly did not hold back. He was not having it. He apparently argued that broken families, and especially households without fathers, are actually fueling crime, right? He actually fully said in his own words, without fathers, young men often seek role models in the wrong places. That's exactly what he said. That hits so hard, man. That hits so deep. He actually was able to link fatherlessness, my people, to gang recruitments. He linked the same fatherlessness to violent behavior, to lack of discipline. And according to him, absent fathers tend to create a vacuum that criminals are actually very quick to fill. So the child is looking for a father figure, a young boy is looking for a father figure, and in most cases, obviously, crimes are mostly done by men, especially the most gruesome ones. They're looking for a father figure, can't get it. A criminal comes, and it looks like they're going to give them that, but it doesn't end up in that way. But they are there. they can't get out, because the initial reason for them to happen there was to maybe try and figure out how this father-son relationship would potentially work, knowingly and unknowingly. Not many of them make the decision because they know why. Others, it's very subconscious, but it may definitely be leading to these particular reasons, which is sad, man. And with KZN, apparently they're seeing one of the highest murder rates in South Africa. And Mkhwanazi actually ended up saying ignoring the problem that we have when it comes to family structures is definitely going to be a mistake, because it will not allow us to see the clear picture of what the problem is in society. And to be honest, Mkhwanazi didn't just highlight the problem, he actually also outlined a 3-step crime prevention plan. And according to him, he said, number one, if we're able to have a stronger community, we will have a proper partnership, right? And this is going to be partnership between police, partnership between schools, and in families. The second part would be the fact that we'll be able to tackle social drivers of crime, which is like maybe broken homes and lack of role models and things like that. And the third thing that he said would be the final step from us initially determining what the problem is, would be pushing for early intervention in order for a young child to, or youth, to be prevented from being pulled into crime syndicates before it's too late, which is true. I think it makes sense, and it's very colloquial. It makes sense, and it's true, and it's actually factual for that matter, which is interesting, because this policeman is not just talking about general stats, he's not just talking about general things. The fact that he's able to take a societal problem and link it to crime, because crime is obviously societal, is also something that is to commend, because we sometimes know of police people to be people in leadership, but they only need to know how to investigate maybe, and not necessarily link certain things to certain things. That to me shows he is academically sound, and he reads, and he is well informed for the man that he is, which makes it even better. Anyway, this is more than just law enforcement, my people, and we need to fix the root cause. That's exactly what he says as well. So the funny thing about this whole situation is that not everyone actually agrees with him, right? His comments have actually, instead of being like, yes, Mkhwanazi, you're right, they have actually sparked a heated national dialogue. Some people are praising him for addressing things that have to do with family responsibility, and saying that South Africa cannot necessarily arrest its way out of crime if households remain broken. But at the same time, others are arguing that particular point to say that his focus on absent fathers is a bit oversimplifying of the issue that we're currently facing. So it's like you're blaming the fact that there's no father, or you're condoning the action of someone who has no father because they don't have a father. I know, don't be mad, it's not right, it's not supposed to be compared like that, but that is just a debate, a national debate that is going on. And many other people have actually said that apart from the fact that the problem is in family and absent fathers, the other problem, the greatest problem, would be poverty. Others also spoke about unemployment, inequality, and corruption, and the interesting thing is they were saying these things are the ones that are far stronger drivers of crime than family structures or than a person who does not have a father in the family. It is a debate. I would say all of them are societal problems that cause a challenge if the societal problems are not addressed properly, because that's not the way people are supposed to live. That's not how we're designed. And therefore, if something is not designed, even if a car has been designed to work in a certain way and it happens, there's a malfunction, a car may even stop working or moving just because of a small malfunction. And that's just the same thing with people. This is currently dividing the reflections that we have, with regards to South Africa's biggest struggle, because crime is caused by personal choices. And I also think it also is caused by broken families. It is caused by systemic failures. And honestly, it is caused by lack of opportunities. That's what I think. And lastly, before I take your time, I wanted to also mention the fact that it's not just a problem that we see in South Africa. People think this is happening only in South Africa. No, it's not. Globally, studies do actually show that there is a correlation when it comes to fatherless households and high crime rates. And Mkhwanazi is right, my people. he was tackling a particular problem. There's no way you're going to research a paper and tackle every single situation or problem challenge. He was taking that one, and this one seems to have ruffled feathers in the US in actual fact, and in the UK, and even parts of Africa in actual fact. For the communities that are there, that have actually seen their units having fewer stable families, often tend to have a higher gang activity. But The challenge with South Africa is our situation is a bit layered because we also have issues with unemployment that is sitting at above 30%. You have youth joblessness that is even worse, and millions of people are in poverty. And I do know that there are certain people or critics that argue that blaming fathers ignores these particular realities. But still, Mkhwanazi comments, and he is striking the nerve in the country where nearly 2/3 of children grow up without their fathers at home, and that's the reality of South Africa. So I'd like to really know, what do you think about this whole thing? Is Mkhwanazi right to blame absent fathers for crime, or maybe should we just be focusing on fixing unemployment, education, and corruption first before we think about these absent fathers? I don't know. Please don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget as well, my people, to like this video if you found it informative, and please subscribe for more hard-hitting discussions on South Africa's biggest issues. From me to you with love, you shouldn't go in here. Peace out on Oh Allegedly. Bye.